Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. Isn't this incredible? Isn't this incredible? Thank you so much for coming along. It's just wonderful to have you all here today. Let me firstly acknowledge the Wurundjeri people and the many other peoples who make up the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the land in which we meet. I want to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and I want to recognise that sovereignty was never ceded over this land. And unlike our Prime Minister, we do believe that constitutional recognition is an important step on a pathway to treaties with our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters. Let me also acknowledge my incredibly talented, wonderful parliamentary team. I want to acknowledge each and every one of them. This is a team. We are a team. Our successes, the outcomes that we achieve in Parliament are achieved because of each and every one of the people who are before you today, and I want to publicly acknowledge them for their support, for their hard work, for their integrity. And let's give them a round of applause. And the Australian Greens are a relatively young party. We've been around for a couple of decades now, but we are building our own very proud, rich history. And we're here today because of the work of all of those parliamentarians, those members, the activists, the supporters who have come before us and have shown us the way. And I want to pay tribute to two giants of our political movement, to a beacon of hope on the recent political landscape when there has been so precious little leadership in the Australian Parliament. I want to pay tribute to two people who are friends, are mentors, and whom I regard as heroes. Senator Bob Brown and Senator Christine Milne. Please stand up. Stand up. We stand on your shoulders. Let me also tell you that while we've got this wonderful team of parliamentarians before you, we have a historic opportunity at this election to build on the team that we've assembled here. We've got so many wonderful candidates in every single lower house electorate right across the country. And don't listen. Don't for a moment listen to those people who are currently in those seats who think they're entitled to them, who think that we have no right to stand against them, because no one owns those seats. Those seats belong to the community, and the community will decide in the next week or so about who represents them. Let me talk to you about some of those seats that we are campaigning very hard on over the next week, and that we hope will turn green on July 2. I'm going to introduce some of those candidates to you and welcome them to the stage. Let me begin with Alex Patel for Batman. Jason Ball for Higgins. Samantha Ratnam for Wills. Steph Hodgins-May for Melbourne Ports. Dawn Walker for Richmond. Let's give Jim Casey and Sylvie Ellsmore a clap. They can't. Jim and Sylvie are campaigning on a big West Connects rally on the weekend, so they can't be here. Let's give them a clap. Kate Davis in Fremantle, who's campaigning hard in Fremantle today. And Kirsten Lovejoy for Brisbane. Now, we also stand a real chance in the Senate, where we could pick up some additional senators to add to our incredible Senate team as well. So let me introduce to you Michael Osborne from New South Wales. And Andrew Bartlett, who can't be here for Queensland. So this is the wonderful team that we're hoping to elect come July 2, and we've never been in better shape. We have never been in better shape. We take into this election campaign an optimistic, progressive, visionary message for change to the Australian people. Whether it be global warming, the treatment of innocent people seeking refuge and asylum, growing income inequality, housing affordability, marriage equality, or the transition to the clean, new, renewable energy economy. People are fed up with being ignored, with an election campaign that has not addressed the issues, the challenges of this century, and they're looking to the Greens in growing numbers. And while we've got the tired, stale old parties, the Coles and Woolies of politics, who refuse to acknowledge the big challenges that we face as a nation, it is the Australian Greens who have been leading and shaping the national debate, increasingly winning support for our courage, for our vision, for our willingness to stand up to those vested interests. We were the first party to come out and talk about negative gearing, that issue that no one would talk about, and good on Labor for adopting at least part of our policy. Capital gains tax reform, superannuation, untouchable only a short time ago, and yet the Greens have paved the way. We led the way on the Royal Commission into the banking and finances sector, and now again we're seeing the old parties catch up. We've been tackling difficult issues that no one will touch, issues like drug law reform, knowing that this has to be seen as a health issue, not just a law and order issue. And we have been the only voice of reason, of compassion, of decency when it comes to innocent people seeking asylum in this country. We stood firm against the climate deniers in this government when they sought to slash the renewable energy target, while the Labor Party caved in to those vested interests. We've paved the way on issues like medicinal cannabis, leading a cross-party group and getting the government to act. We passed laws on multinational tax avoidance. And of course, we put power back into the hands of voters by reforming the voting system in the Senate, a campaign that Bob and Christine took up many years ago and that we were pleased to see through to the end. And at this election campaign, we are offering people a very clear choice. It's a choice that is often denied to them when the Greens are shut out of leaders' debates or policy debates. So we're taking our message to the streets. It's a choice between the past and the future. It's a choice between having an economy that's hitched to the fortunes of fossil fuel companies, inaction in the face of catastrophic global warming and cruelty to people seeking asylum, or the Greens' vision, a fairer, more decent, more compassionate, more prosperous Australia. We are the only party who can be trusted to stand up to those vested interests, to take action to prevent dangerous climate change and transition our economy. We'll make sure that big business and the super rich pay their fair share so that ordinary people can get access to decent schools and hospitals. And of course, we are the only party to stand up for those innocent people seeking asylum in this country and to say loudly and clearly, those cruel and brutal offshore camps must be closed. We recognise in this country that being able to offer protection, that's a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness, that we can and must do better. And it's this message, this courage, this vision, that thousands of Greens members and supporters have been taking to the streets right across the country, knocking on doors, ringing people up, talking to them in their online communities and making sure that our message is heard. And I just want to pay tribute to you, many of you who have been engaged in this campaign doing just that, and to the many thousands of people right across the country who stand with us, working tirelessly, spending hours talking to people about the things that we know matter. To you and to the thousands of people right across the country who are standing with us proudly with this optimistic, forward-looking vision, I say thank you. And let me talk to you a little bit about this plan. We have a plan for action on dangerous global warming, something that a former Prime Minister once called the moral challenge of this generation. Well, we agree with him. And we will work hard to save the reef and to transition our economy into the clean energy economy, which means jobs and investment for many communities right across the country. It's a plan that at its heart has a 90% renewable energy target for 2030 as a minimum, supporting Australians to repower their homes and businesses with clean energy, investing in clean transport that works for people and for the environment, that funds climate adaptation measures, disaster preparedness, and we know with those recent events just how important that is, and frontline services to address the impacts that we are already experiencing. We will keep new coal in the ground. And we recognise that people in the coal industry are already losing their jobs. It's an industry in structural decline, and that's why we have a Clean Energy Transition Fund, the only party that's acknowledging this reality and wants to work with affected communities to provide them and their children with a pathway to long-term employment. We're a party that's going to seize those opportunities in the new economy. It's not just a slogan for us, it means something. We've got everything we need in this country, everything we need to have a successful, thriving, prosperous economy founded on clean energy and innovation. The only thing that's missing is political will. Our plan undoes those climate-destroying policies that are anti-innovation. We will increase investment in science, research and development. We'll ensure every child. We understand that learning's lifelong, and that's why every child will have access to early childhood education and care by providing families with 24 hours of universal subsidised care and learning each week. We'll create a new world-class education system, needs-based funding at its heart, so that every kid, regardless of their postcode, can get access to a decent education. And we'll make sure that those children who have special needs, who need a little bit more help in the classroom, get it. We'll support university students, reducing help costs by 20% and reinstating those student scholarships. And of course, we'll work towards a cost-effective and future-proofed national broadband network by doing it once and doing it properly. But let me tell you that growing the economy, having a thriving new economy, means nothing unless we share those benefits across the community. Growing the pie is not enough. The pie's been growing for 25 years and the benefits haven't been shared equally. We are a party that understands that trickle-down economics does not work. We've got it back to front. We have got it back to front. We have two parties who think that we are there to serve the economy rather than the economy being there to serve us. Our plan for a more equal, a more compassionate Australia tackles inequality and creates a social safety net that's fit for purpose in the 21st century. We'll address housing affordability through assistance for homelessness services, investing in public and community housing, tackling the huge cost of housing by removing those unfair tax breaks. And that's why we don't support negative gearing for future purchases, and we support reform to capital gains tax discounts. We've been told that we can't afford a world-class health system. Nonsense. Health is an investment as much as it's a cost, and that's why we want to fund hospitals and fund Medicare and expand Medicare so that we bring dental care into Medicare. We want to ensure equality for women through confronting domestic violence services, paid parental leave and safe access to abortion. We want to empower and invest in our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, working with them, ensuring that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are developing solutions that are community-led, not top-down, not paternalistic. This is something we will work with Aboriginal people to achieve. We want to ensure a right for every person to independence and full participation if they have a disability. And that's why we want to make sure the National Disability Insurance Scheme is the best it can be. And of course, we want to end discrimination in marriage once and for all. With every vote, every time, we will return back to the Parliament and we will call for an end to a divisive plebiscite and for a free vote so that we can say to people right across the community that love is love. We are a party that wants a clean and healthy environment. It's why we were founded. It's part of our DNA. So we will always stand to protect our precious places now and for future generations. We're going to save the reef and the jobs that depend on it through our ambitious plan. We are going to help repair and restore our unique natural heritage by supporting environmental programs like the Biodiversity Fund and the Indigenous Rangers program. We will fight every step of the way to end the logging of our precious native forests. We'll protect our marine environment, and we'll deliver a new Environment Act and a tough new independent watchdog whose job it is to look after the environment than simply to exploit it. We believe that Australia can be an outward-looking, confident, more caring, more generous nation. And we can do that by welcoming people who seek asylum, who we know will help build our communities and contribute to our economy, like generations have before them, and will help make our country stronger than it's ever been. We'll increase our international aid efforts. We're on track to spend less on international development than at any other time in Australian history. Unlike the two old parties, we believe that Australian aid's an investment in our future, in international security, in a more fairing and more just world. We'll ensure that our defence and foreign policies reflect the fact that we are an independent nation and that we have a diplomacy-first role in the international sphere. And isn't it about time we stood on our own 2 feet? We have the leaders of the 3 major political parties in this nation who support a republic. Now is the time to get on and do it. Now, to do all of these things, we have to reinvigorate our democracy to ensure that all of us have a say in shaping our future, that our representatives are accountable to us. We need to break the business as usual model of politics. We do that through campaign finance reform. We need to fix our political donation laws. We need to make sure there's greater transparency. We shouldn't have industries like the alcohol industry, the gambling industry, the mining industry, financing our political parties and influencing the decisions that they make. And let's clean up politics at a federal level by establishing a national anti-corruption watchdog. Ladies and gentlemen, these are choices. These are choices that we have before us. We can have this vision if we are prepared to make the right choices. We've shown that just by clamping down in 3 crucial areas of the budget, that we can help repair the budget, address some of those structural issues, we can address income inequality, and we can get money moving away from those speculative, lazy areas of investment, those sheltered tax locations, into productive areas of the economy. That's why we want to end those tax breaks in housing, raising $14 billion over the next 4 years. Superannuation changes, $11 billion. And those massive mining subsidies worth $24 billion. If we end those things, we can have the sort of society that we all want and deserve. So we are ready. We are ready for the challenge. Our vote's growing because people understand that we do need to tackle dangerous global warming and that what comes with that is a clean, jobs rich, renewable energy economy. Our vote's growing because people understand that innocent people fleeing torture and persecution, coming here, seeking protection, can make a contribution to the nation, and that we can meet those challenges through a little more compassion, creativity and cooperation. Our vote's growing. It's growing because people want their precious places to be protected for their kids and for their grandkids. It's growing because people want their kids to have a fair go in the housing market. It's growing because they don't want to see poverty entrenched in our society. They want people to have access to education, to health, to social services. They know that these are the foundation of a decent society. And they know that for Australia to achieve its potential, we must achieve all of these things. So let me finish. Let me finish by saying I'm so proud to be standing with you, leading a party that has the courage and the vision so sadly lacking in Australia today, that has the courage and vision to stand with people right across the country on those things that matter. Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.